Good evening to all of you. Today is the last class, but very important because today I am going to discuss two full practical case study. Two full practical case study. I have made the question for you, and we are going to discuss this question at the end of the class. So, what would be the agenda for today? First, we will complete our discussion. So, around 1.5 hours approximate, it will be taken by this GST return. And then we will start the practical question, first question covering all the chapters: exemption, composition, registration, ITC, valuation, everything. So you all had to solve. It will the revision of the entire GST. Okay, let me start. So we were discussing about the section 39 return. Section 39 is the GSTR 3B in case of the regular taxpayer. Perfect. He has to file the GSTR 3B. He has to file the GSTR 3B either on monthly or quarterly basis. What is monthly or what is quarterly? That we have discussed in the last class in very much detail. Correct. That earlier it was the GSTR 3, but now they are in lieu of the GSTR 3, they have replaced the GSTR 3 with the GSTR 3B. Perfect. It can be monthly, it can be quarterly, and we have discussed the due date as well. And remember that we have discussed that 22 or 24. So 22 is for category state number 1 and 22 for category state number 2. What is the category state number 1 and what is the category state number 2? That has been given below. We'll discuss. QRMP, we all know that quarterly return, monthly payment of the taxes, that also we have discussed in the last class. 5 crore is the aggregate turnover, has to be there. If it is not exceeding, then you have the option to go for quarterly, or you can go for the monthly. Correct. Condition and restriction, that all we have discussed. Option for QRMP scheme to lapse in case where the registered person aggregate turnover crossed during the financial year, then he shall not be eligible for furnishing the return on quarterly basis from first month of the succeeding quarter. So for example, if my turnover exceed, let's say in the month of the July, suppose if my turnover exceed, let's say in the month of July or August, then exceeding 5 crore I'm talking about, then in that case, I would be continue in that quarter under the QRMP, but from the next quarter, I would be ineligible from QRMP and will be convert myself from the QRMP to the monthly. So how the option of converting would be available. Let's say we are talking about from for the month of let's say we are talking about for the July to September quarter. Fine. Then I like to opt for this quarter. What is the last date? The last date would be 31st July. And this option would be available 2 months in advance. That means the quarter was started from July. So the option would be available from 1st May. Without opting QRMP, can we file on quarterly? Answer is no. Either you have to opt monthly or quarterly. If you are not opting quarterly, it means you are under monthly scheme. Then obviously you have to file the GSTR 3B and one on monthly basis. Suppose I'm asking to you, let's say, for example, I like to go for the October to December quarter under QRMP. Currently, I am monthly. I can opt definitely, but what was the last date? To opt? The 31st October would be the last date. So when this option would be available, this would be available from 2 months in advance, August and September. It means it would be available from 1st August. It would be available from 1st August to 31st October. Form and manner, that GSTR 3B, what is the category state number 1? They have given the state number 1, category state number for which the date is 22, and category state number 2 for which the due date of the GSTR 3B is 24th. Please remember these dates are for quarterly GSTR 3B. We have talked about that in case of the monthly, irrespective of your turnover, your due date would always be 20. Irrespective of your turnover, your due date would always be 20. In case you file to, do not have any transaction, either say it is not the detailed return, which we have discussed in the GSTR 1. GSTR 1 is asking the information on the detail wise, invoice wise. Certain tables are there in consolidated manner, but most of the tables are detailed information. Here, no information is to be given in the detail. The GSTR 3B is to be given in the summarized manner. So summarize details of outward supplies and inward supplies liable to reverse charge. If you have the outward supplies, that you need to give, and or any RCM inward transaction that you need to give, because you need to pay the taxes. Then they are asking table 3.2. This is table 3.2. That summarized details of interstate supplies made to unregistered person, composite taxable person, and UIN holder. Then table 4 is talking about eligible ITC and ineligible ITC. Table 5 is talking about value of the exempt nil rated and non-GST inward supplies. Value of the exempt nil rated and non-GST inward supplies. Fine. Then next, table 6 is talking about the payment of the taxes, and last is the TDS or TCS credit received. So these are the content. Now the GSTR 4 would be applicable for composition taxpayer. GSTR 4 is applicable for composition taxpayer, right? A registered person paying the tax under the provision of section 10, that is composition levy, shall for each financial year or part thereof furnish the return electronically in the state or UT, inward supplies of the goods and services, tax payable, tax paid, such other particular and such form and such manner within such time as may be prescribed. So the composition dealer is required to file the GSTR 4. See, for example, for composition dealer, there are two return or two CMP 08. They have to pay the tax on quarterly basis. What is the due date? 18th after the end of the quarter. 18th after the end of the quarter. So 18th of the month following the end of the quarter. If there is no tax liability, still we need to file the CMP 08? Answer is yes. Nil CMP 08 has to be furnished even though there is no tax liability. Next, then we need to furnish GSTR 4, but that is annually. What is the due date? Due date is 30th day of the month following the end of year. So 30th April would be the due date. GSTR composition dealer required to furnish the CMP 08 for making the payment of the taxes on quarterly basis, and they have to furnish the GSTR 4 that is on annual basis. And what is the due date of the GSTR 4? The due date of the GSTR 4 is 30th April after the end of the financial year. Fine. While a composition is required to file the GSTR 4 annually, is required to pay the tax quarterly. That we have understood. What is the due date? We have also discussed the due date. CMP 08, 18th of the month following the end of the quarter. Now, the auto population of inward supplies, again, almost in all the concept, all the inward supplies are auto populated. GSTR 2A, GSTR 2B, table GSTR 4A, and in case of the IST, we have discussed table GSTR 6A. Inward supplies of the composition supply received from the registered person filing the GSTR1 will be auto-populated in 4A for the viewing purpose. What is the content of the table GSTR4? GST number, legal name, trade name, TDS or TCS credit received, tax, interest, late fees payable and paid, a refund claim from ECL, and details regarding the outward and inward supplies, invoice-wise details of the all inward supplies within bracket, that is intra or inter from registered or unregistered, including RCN and import of services. Table 5. Basically, table 5 is the sum total of the CMP 08. So you are filing the GSTR 4 annually, and before that you have paid the taxes through CMP 08. So there would be 4 CMP 08 for every year, because in case of the nil, we have to furnish the CMP 08. So summary of self-assessed liability CMP 08, that is net of advances, credit and debit note, and any other adjustment due to amendment. If a supplier follow the calendar year, then due date of the filing is Ankur. It is irrespective of the accounting year which you are following. The due date is 30th April. And quarter according to the GST means April to March. Financial year means April to March. So April to June is first quarter, July to September is second quarter, likewise. So the due date would always be 30th April after the end of the March. Tax rate wise details of the outward supplies or inward supplies, attracting RCN, net of advances, credit and debit note, any other adjustment due to amendment. Consolidated details of the outward supplies. So these are the table. For GSTR 4. Nil GST CMP 08 is mandatory for all the taxpayer who opted to pay the tax under composition. Even if there is no business activity, the nil 3B is required to be filed. A nil CMP 08 does not have any entry in any of its table. For example, nil CMP 08 for a tax period cannot be filed if the taxpayer has made any outward supply or has received, obviously, because if he has some transaction, obviously cannot file the nil GSTR 3B. Nil GST CMP 08. Statement or return for the period prior to opting for composition. See, if a registered person opt to pay the tax under composition, and I hope you remember that composition escape. Suppose I am under regular, I like to convert myself to the composition. Then what is the date? The 31st March. I cannot convert in between. I cannot convert from regular to the composition in between. So that would be after year end is the last date to file the form, and from 1st of April it would be effective date. So means in case of the last quarter for the composition, what will be the due date for the CMP 08? 18th. Fixed. 18th, say last quarter is 31st March. So 18th April, he has to furnish the CMP 08, and by 30th April, he has to furnish the GSTR 4. Then, if a registered person opt to pay the tax composition from the beginning of the financial year, he will furnish statement or return relating to the period prior to paying the taxes under composition till the due date. So, furnish the statement or return relating to the period prior to paying the tax under composition. So that means GSTR 3B, GSTR 1, etc. Correct. Due date of furnishing the return for the month of the September or annual return, whichever is earlier. Composition supplier will not be eligible to avail the ITC, that we all know, nothing to discuss. GSTR 4 for the period prior to existing from composition scheme. Now they are talking about opting out from composition. See, in the last page, we have discussed opt into the composition. Now we are discussing exiting from the composition, opting out. A registered person opting to withdraw from the composition at instance shall furnish the CMP 08 or GSTR 4 relating to the period prior to his exist from or opting out from composition. He has to furnish the CMP 08 and GSTR 4. Now, till 18th of the month succeeding the quarter in which the date of withdrawal falls, and 30th April following the end of the financial year, such withdrawal comes. The provision explained in point F and G above has been explained by way of the diagram at the given next page. 29.2. What is the 29.2? In which the proper officer has power to cancel the GST registration. Clause A, a person paying the tax under composition scheme has not furnished his GSTR4 for 3 consecutive tax period. Any other taxable person has not furnished the return for consecutive period of 6 months. That we have already discussed. So, regular taxpayer has converted to the composition, or composition has converted to the regular. So that is opting for composition, that is out from composition. So this is calling as into the composition, opting for composition, and this is opt out from composition or exit from composition. Correct? Statement or return relating to the period prior to opting for the composition is to be filed. Statement or return relating to the period prior to opting for the composition to be filed till the due date of furnishing the return for the month of the September or furnishing of annual return, whichever is earlier. And CMP 08 and GSTR 4 has to be furnished after the end of the quarter. So for in any quarter in which the person has withdrawn from opting out from composition, for that quarter, once the quarter is end, and after that till 18th, he has to furnish CMP 08 for paying the taxes. And after the end of the financial year, he will furnish GSTR 4. What is the GSTR 5? Non-resident taxable person, NRTP. In short, we are saying NRTP, non-resident taxable person. Section 39, subsection 5, read with rule 63. So, the non-resident taxable person are those who does not have the fixed establishment in India and come for a shorter period to make supplies in India. Can anybody tell me what is the validity period of composition of this registration of non-resident taxable? What is the maximum period for which the registration would be valid? Can you please tell me? We have already discussed in the registration chapter. Can you please tell me what is the validity period for non-resident taxable person registration? I'm expecting the reply from everyone. Answer is absolutely correct. Wow. So the registration is valid for 90 days and again they can extend for 90 days. Maximum 90 plus 90 is equal to 180. And absolutely correct. They have to take registration 5 days in advance before the commencement. Isa, you are talking about the application for registration. That is also correct. But my question was the validity of the registration. Now, which return they will file? GSTR 4. Which return they will file? GSTR 4. No, sir. GSTR 5. Because GSTR 4 is applicable to the composition. So non-resident taxable person is not required to file separately statement of the outward supplies and applicable return for a normal taxpayer. They have to file monthly tax return in the prescribed form, that is GSTR 5. Last date to file the return 28th. After the end of the month or within 7 days after the last date of the validity period, whichever is earlier. Within 20 days after the end of the calendar month or within 7 days after the last day of the validity period, whichever is earlier. Payment of interest, penalty, fees or any other amount payable. NRTP should pay the tax, interest, penalty, etc. till the last date of the filing GSTR 4. But please remember, NRTP is not required to file the annual return. Due date for payment of the taxes that we have already discussed. The due date for the payment of the tax in case of monthly. In case of monthly, it would be 20th. In case of the quarterly, for month 1, 25, month 2, 25th. But third month, that is for which you are filed the GSTR 3B. Whatever the due date of the 3B is, the same date would be the due date for the payment of taxes. So we are not going to discuss this part. We have already discussed in detail. for first month, second month. Correct. We have discussed. Monthly payment of the tax under QRMP for first month and second month, the due date is 25th. Correct. While generating the challan, and when you create the challan would be under monthly payment for quarterly taxpayer. Now understand. Now this is important. This is important. So now you need to pay the taxes, that is okay. For month 1 and month 2, you need to pay the taxes, that is okay. But how much you pay the taxes? That depends on any of the method chosen by the taxpayer. Any of the method. So what is the first method? Fixed sum method. So what is the second method? Self-assessment method. Why we are using these methods? So these methods will tell you how much amount would be payable or would be paid by you. When this method would be adopted? In case of the QRMP, for month 1 and month 2, let's say July to September, I'm talking about the taxes for the month of the July, which you pay by 25th September through PMT 06, or for the month of the August, which you will pay by 25th September by PMT 06. For third month, there is no PMT 6. It will be along with the GSTR 3B. But for month 1 and month 2, how much tax you need to pay, that depend upon the method which you are following. Fixed sum method. By the name, it is clear. It is fixing the liability which need to be paid in cash. Fixing the liability which need to be paid in cash. And in the self-assessment method, self-assess, it means you need to determine the ITC, you need to determine the tax liability, and net amount you need to pay in cash. Again, highlighting the point, we are calculating how much tax need to be paid through PMT 6. It means the liability which need to be paid in cash means the liability, gross liability, we are not required to pay here. Please remember, we are not required to pay the gross liability. We need to pay only the cash portion. So in the fixed sum method, they are saying something which we will discuss, but it is fixed. So same liability would be for month 1 and month 2. For 1 quarter, they are fixing the liability for M1 and M2. They are not fixing the liability for entire year. This method is fixing the liability for 1 quarter. How it is fixing? It is also called as a 35% method. How they are fixing the liability? Try to understand. See, again, I'm talking about for July to September quarter. I am under QRMP. For the month of the July, I know that I have to pay the taxes on 25th of August. Correct? Suppose I am opting the fixed sum method. So when I am making the payment, so where I need to opt might be that will be the question. So when I am logging to the portal, I will select monthly payment for quarterly taxpayer, in which there are 2 methods, fixed sum method or self-assessment. I have to select any one. Now, what is the 35% and what is the 100%? See, you are filing the return from July to September under QRMP scheme. Check what is your preceding quarter frequency. See, either you are furnishing quarterly or you are furnishing monthly. Which quarter, which period I'm talking about? July to September, we are talking about currently, but go back to the previous, it means April to June. For April to June, suppose you are opting, you are already under QRMP scheme, you are already furnishing the quarterly scheme. In that case, the liability for the quarterly GSTR 3B for the quarter ending June how much liability you have paid in cash in the quarterly 3B, which quarter? Last quarter. Because you need to determine the liability. You need to determine the liability which you will pay by 25th of the month following the end of the month. For month 1 and month 2, you need to pay the amount through PMT6. How much you need to pay the amount? Go back to the previous period. Either April to June was quarterly. Yes. So it means the 3B was furnished quarterly. Yes. So in that 3B, what is the liability which you paid in cash? Not talking about the gross liability. They're talking about the liability which is being paid in cash. That liability multiplied by 35%. You need to pay for month 1. You need to pay for month 2. If suppose, we'll take one example also, numeric example also. If suppose the April to June, I was not under QRMP. Suppose I was under monthly scheme. So April there is a separate 3B. For May there is a separate 3B. For June there is a separate 3B. So how much liability you have paid in cash in the June GSTR 3B, equal amount you will pay for month 1 and month 2. For easy understanding, let me take one we'll discuss the example of the study material. In case the last return filed was quarterly. In case the last return was filed quarterly. And what was the tax paid in that quarter? 100 rupees CGST, 100 SGST, 500 IGST, and cess is 50 rupees. So what you will say? In the April to May, in the month of April, in the month of May, M1 and M2. M1 and M2, you will pay the 35%, you will pay the 35% of the liability of the previous quarter. Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly confirm. So how much liability I have paid in cash? Do not forget to write the word cash. Do not forget to write the word cash. How much liability I have paid in cash in the preceding quarter? 100 rupees. So for month 1 and month 2, you will pay similar amount. For under each head. Let's suppose the last period frequency, the last return which I was filing, that Y was under monthly scheme. I have filed the GSTR 3B for the preceding quarter on under not under QRMP. I am filing the return under monthly scheme. Then whatever the taxes you paid, in cash, equal amount you will pay in cash for month 1 and month 2. Is it clear? Requesting everyone to kindly confirm. Correct. There is two possibility. Either you were under QRMP in the last period or you are filing under monthly scheme. If it is under QRMP, you will pay the liability which is being paid in cash for that last quarter multiplied by 35%. If it is under monthly scheme, then you will pay actual amount, 100% tax liability which is being discharged in cash, equal amount you will pay for month 1 and month 2. In case of the quarterly, need to pay 35% in month 1 and month 2. In case of monthly, need to pay the same amount. In case of monthly, I am not required to calculate at all because I am filing the GSTR 3B on monthly basis. So whatever the liability is, I will calculate and pay. That will be the self-assessment. I will actually calculate and pay. It will not depend upon the another period. Is this only for the first 2 months of every year? Not every year, of every quarter, Pooja. We are talking about every quarter. So again, you have paid for this quarter, let's say for April to June when the quarter was ended. Then again for the July and August, you will calculate based on this quarterly 3B. Whatever quarterly 3B you have furnished, in which you will, so what about for the June? For the month of the June, I will put actual sales, I will put actual ITC, I will pay actual liability. And how much liability is being paid in cash? Again, the 35% of that will be used for month 1 and month 2 of the next quarter. So every month, every quarter, there is the same cycle. If I am opting fixed sum method, but I am not bound that I have to opt only fixed sum method. I can go for the self-assessment method. From the name, it is clear. Self-assessment means I myself will calculate the gross tax liability, whatever the ITC, and the net amount I will pay in cash. However, no such amount may be required to be deposited through PMT06 for the first month of the quarter where the balance in the electronic cash or the credit ledger is sufficient. Suppose you have the sufficient cash or credit ledger, then not required to be deposited the amount. For the second month of the quarter where the balance in the electronic cash and credit ledger is adequate for cumulative tax liability for first and second month of the quarter, or where there is a nil tax liability. So simply means that if there is a sufficient cash balance and credit balance to pay the tax liability for the said month, in case of the first month of the quarter, and in case of the second month of the quarter, it will be cumulative. So if there is a sufficient ITC or the cash amount is lying, there is no requirement to pay the additional tax again through PMT6 by 25th. In case of the company is new, what amount be paid for quarterly tax payment? There is no preceding quarter, then amount would be 0. If it is a fixed sum method is being opted, if that company is opting fixed sum method, there is no periodicity. So either if it is going by fixed sum method, it would be 0. There is no requirement to pay, or they can opt the self-assessment method. They can opt the self-assessment method and pay the taxes according to actual sales and actual ITC. Pooja, if we have paid more than the actual liability, no problem. It will be available in the cash ledger. It will be available in the cash ledger. You can use for the tax liability while filing the GSTR 3B. There is no problem. Or it will be available in the cash ledger. After the end of the quarter, you like to go for the refund, you can, or you can use for the future tax liability as well. If she's saying if opted for QRMP earlier, then 35% of aggregate cash paid under tax, and if for monthly, then 35% tax paid in case of the last quarter that respective quarter. If opted for QRMP, see, you are under QRMP, then only you are calculating this 35% or 100%. You are under QRMP. See, one point is clear that this method is available only for the QRMP. If you are under monthly, then you will file GSTR 3B on monthly basis, right? Then you will calculate actual liability while filing the 3B and pay the same. There is no method for monthly. Under QRMP, they are saying there is two possibilities. If the previous period return filing, you have opted QRMP in the last quarter, or you are opting monthly in the last quarter. If it is monthly, then 100% of the tax liability of last quarter, last month, that is June, like I'm talking about the July to September. If I was under QRMP in the last quarter also, then I will pay 35% of the tax liability paid in cash in that quarter 3B. Again repeating, are you calculating how much amount in case of the monthly scheme? No. The monthly scheme would be self-assessment method. You are filing the GSTR 3B. You are filing the GSTR 3B on monthly basis. You will put actual sale. You will put actual ITC. You will calculate liability and balance amount you will pay in cash. This option we are not talking about for monthly. This option we are talking about quarterly. So for quarterly, there are 3 months. For quarterly, there are 3 months. Month 1, month 2, and third month, that is quarter ending. For quarter ending, there is no requirement to calculate because here we are filing the GSTR 3B. So we will pay the actual liability. For the complete quarter, fine. For month 1 and month 2, government needs the tax. How much the tax need to be paid to the government? That depend upon last quarter. That depend upon the last quarter. In my example, suppose this quarter is July to September. So the last quarter would be April to June. If in the last quarter you were also under QRMP, it means the GSTR 3B, for that quarter, how much liability you have paid in cash, multiply by 35%. This amount would be paid in month 1 and this amount would be paid in month 2. Same amount. Now I'm talking about if the last quarter frequency was not quarterly, it was monthly. Then the last month was June, and for the month of the June, how much liability you paid in cash? 100% amount, same amount, equal amount you will pay in month 1 and you will pay in month 2. Let me take the questions. Akash Sneel. So does this mean that in case of the PMT06 payment under QRMP, there are two methods, fixer method and self-assessment method? Let me see that if I able to open the, actual government website. So you will have more clarity. Give me only 1 minute. After that, I will take the question. Give me only 1 minute. Meanwhile, you can ask the question. In front of you, it is an online GST portal. Just confirm, are you able to see that portal? Just confirm that you all are able to see the portal. Just confirm. In monthly, why 2 times pay? We are paying for 1 month. Why 2 times pay? No. For monthly, there is only 1 time. For month 1, I'm paying 1 time. For second month, I'm paying again. So it is not 2 times in a month. It is a 2 times in 2 months. In the services tab, go to the return. In the services tab, go to the return. In the last, you will see, 1 second. In the last, you can see opt-in for quarterly return. You can see that now for October to December, if I like to convert, from monthly to quarterly or quarterly to monthly, I can simply click here and click on the save. My frequency would change. You can see that for October to December, if I like to opt QRMP, this option would be available. Last date is 31st October. And this option is available 2 months in advance. It means October, then back September, then back August. It means the 1st August to 31st October. First, confirm that this logic is clear, which we have theoretically discussed. Now we have seen practically. Kindly give me the confirmation. This concept is clear. How to change the frequency. Now, kindly confirm so that I can move to the next option. Next. Now, currently we are talking about how much we need to pay the taxes. In case of the under the payment, you can see that there is an option create challan. Now, if I am quarterly taxpayer, if I am QRMP, which you can see, then you will select this option. Monthly payment for quarterly. We have seen now. Just go back to the study material. Go back to the study material. What it is saying that while generating the challan, taxpayer should select monthly payment for quarterly taxpayer. So where we are selecting monthly payment for quarterly taxpayer. Now see, if I am selecting monthly payment for quarterly taxpayer, then they are saying which type, which method you are opting for payment of challan. I told you that fixed sum method is also called as a 35% challan or self-assessment method. For regular, only 1 and 3 is required to be furnished. Is there some other return also? Shivam, just wait for, no, nothing. For annually, there is an GSTR 9. Annually, there is one more return, GSTR 9 and 9C, depending upon the turnover. But yes, periodically, there is no other return. In case of the fixed sum method, if opted, the SSC can pay 35% or 100% the cash paid by him in the last month, his or current quarter for the first. Mahadev, 1 minute. If I am opting monthly payment for quarterly, if I am opting, see, I am again clicking on this, then the system will display the two method. I have to select any one method and then I have to click on the proceed button. This question is clear. One has asked the question. Leave it. So let me select this button. 35% challan. It means the current quarter, the July, which I need to pay the taxes, right? See, if I am selecting 35%, then click on the proceed. Let's see what is coming. You are not eligible to file 35% challan since you have not filed your previous 3B. Please try again. Problem, because this particular taxpayer has not filed 3B. So first they have to file 3B. Then only this system calculate the 35%. Then only the system will calculate the 35%. If there is no sale in that month, Rekha, if there is no sale in that month, then you can simply select self-assessment method and then click on the proceed. And simply nothing to pay. See, what is the self-assessment method? In self-assessment method, you are calculating your actual liability. See, you can opt any method. This is not the compulsion that you have to go for one method only. Suppose you are opting, you are thinking that, like Rekha is saying, you are thinking that there is no liability. Go for the self-assessment method. Or there is a smaller liability. There is just some method. I am required to pay only 100 rupees CGST, 100 rupees SGST. No problem. I will simply pay 200, select the mode and pay the challan. Is it clear? Till now, is it clear? How to pay the challan is clear or not? We'll discuss multiple options. First, tell me whether how to pay the challan is clear to all. We have discussed this major head and we have discussed this minor head. Then what about the balance liability, Somesh? The method is being given by the GST law. So they are asking 35% liability. But please note, they are asking the cash component to be paid 35%. See, Somesh, if we actually see 35% of what? 35% of what? That quarter of last quarter, we are taking 35%. For month 1, we will pay. For month 2, we will again pay 35%. And for third month, we will actually pay the liability. So effectively, what they are doing, the quarterly liability is being divided in three parts. The quarterly liability is being divided in three parts. See, it is not that they are not taking 75%. No, sir. They are taking the 35% of previous quarter liability. It means that liability consists of 3 months. And for that, they are taking 35%. Obviously, we normally say if the liability is of 3 months divided by 3, that would represent my monthly liability, right? And so equivalent amount, they are taking, just rounding it off. So please do not understand they are taking the less liability. No, we are calculating the 35% of last quarter liability. We are calculating 35% of the last quarter liability. It means for month 1, month 2, obviously, and month 3 I will pay actually. So effectively they are taking the full liability. Is it clear? So please tell me which part I need to explain. I am not sure that which part you are asking me. So multiple point we are discussing. So please, if anybody like to repeat me, if anybody want me to repeat, I am okay to repeat, but kindly mention what to repeat, because there is some time gap in the message which is coming to me. There is some time gap, the message which is coming to me. So probably you are asking some other point, but at that point of time, I am speaking on, or I am teaching another point. Sure. Like Rafiq Bhai has clearly told that 100% payment, please once again repeat, no problem. Repeating both the method. So for the July to September, you are under QRMP, then only you need to see the method. If I am under monthly, do I need to see any method? No, not required. Why? File 3B on monthly. You will file 3B on monthly. You will pay the actual liability. Why you are required to determine the liability? Because you will file monthly. Fine, no problem. If I am under QRMP, then for month 1 and month 2, I have to pay the liability on estimation basis. That is fixed sum method. Or second method is self-assessment method. In the self-assessment method, I will pay actual liability. It means I will calculate my sale, I will calculate my ITC, and then balance, I will pay the amount in cash. Simple. If I am opting fixed sum method, then if last quarter frequency is QRMP, then the GSTR 3B which you furnished for that quarter, GSTR 3B which you furnished for that quarter would represent for 3 months. Then cash multiplied by 35%, you will pay in month 1, you will pay in the month 2, and on the quarter ending, when you furnish the 3B, you will file actual sales, you will furnish actual ITC, balance amount you need to pay in cash or ITC, whatever you have. And 100% of the month 3 paid together in the last quarter. So why for, see, this 35% payment which I have made, this 35% payment which I have made, it would be available in this 3B. So 70% liability I have already paid. 70% liability I have already paid. It is lying in your cash ledger only. You can offset while filing the GSTR 3B. It doesn't mean that in the GSTR 3B you have to pay 100% liability again. No. You will calculate your liability, out of which 70% is already available in the cash ledger. 70% is already available in the cash ledger. You can use that, and balance, if any, need to pay the same. Rekha, your question is clear? Ma'am Rafiq Bhai, 100% monthly payment. So suppose I am under monthly scheme. For the last quarter, I was not under QRMP. Then they are saying how much liability you paid in cash in the month of the June, how much liability you paid in cash in GSTR 3B. In GSTR 3B, how much liability you paid in cash, equivalent amount you will pay for month 1 and month 2. Equivalent amount you will pay. So I can say 100% tax liability paid in cash in the last month. For rest 65, Rekha Kumari, now all you can ask the question from my side. It's completed. Everything is completed practically also and theoretically also. Need one example with figure. Okay. Okay, fine. Let me take one example first. Let me take one example and then we will move ahead. Suppose I am opting QRMP for July to September quarter. From June to April to June, I was also under QRMP. For month 1, for month 2, for quarter ending. In the month 20, 20, 40, and let's say 10 rupees, I have paid this much of the liability. I have paid this much of the liability, equal amount I have paid in second month. But for quarter ending, there is a gross liability of 100 rupees. There is a gross liability of CGST, SGST 100, and there is a gross liability of IGST is 450. There is a gross liability of cess is 100. There was an ITC use quarterly ending. I am talking about the GSTR 3B. Suppose there was an ITC 70, 50, 200, and 20. The balance liability I have paid in cash. This situation which I have explained is pertain to the April to June quarter. I was under QRMP. Now, what I am saying, I need to calculate the liability for the July to September quarter. Because again, for July to September quarter, I have to pay some amount in May, month 1, some amount in month 2, and quarterly 3B, I am not required to see anything because it will be on actual basis. Twenty-fifth day of the succeeding month means July to 25th day of the succeeding month means the month 1 is July, na? Month 1 is July, right, Prabhas? It means we are talking about 25th August. Month 2 we are talking about August, right? So 25th succeeding the month. Succeeding matlab us month ke baad. Succeeding the month matlab us month ke baad. So it means they are talking about 25th September is the due date. Suppose I am opting the QRMP scheme under this method, suppose I am opting fix sum method. Under this, I am opting fix sum method to pay the taxes. Please tell me how much amount I will pay CGST under M1. सेस में आईटीसी कैसे क्लेम किया? अगर ग्रॉस लाइबिलिटी है और उसमें अगर सो फॉर एग्जांपल मैं कुछ सेस के प्रोडक्ट में आई एम सप्लाइंग द सेस प्रोडक्ट ऑन व्हिच देयर इज एन आईटीसी, आई कैन यूटिलाइज द सेस toward the cess liability only. I cannot take the refund, that is. Suppose I'm dealing in the tobacco, output tax liability is cess, input tax also cess. So I can take the ITC in the cess also. Kindly tell me here how much amount I need to enter. Karthik, answer is yes for question number 1. Second, please confirm that if for 1 month for the quarter is paid by fixed method, the payment of the second method will also be need to be paid. Not necessary, you can change. Please tell me how much amount I need to. How much amount I need to pay, how much amount I need to pay in cash in month 1 and month 2. I can say 35% of previous quarter liability. Anyone have any doubt for fixed sum method? Anyone have any doubt for fixed sum method? Please confirm. Anyone has any doubt for fixed sum method? Kindly confirm. Please let me know. Otherwise, kindly confirm. Is it clear? If it is clear, kindly confirm. If it is clear, kindly confirm. Or doubt, please ask. For month 1, for month 2, I can say if I'm opting same method, then again equal liability. Or if I like to pay by self-assessment method, I can go and pay the same by selecting self-assessment. Please ask if you have a doubt or kindly confirm if it is clear. Kindly confirm if it is clear. Now suppose from October to December, I have changed to monthly scheme. I have changed to monthly scheme. Only cash amount considered, Rafiq bhai. Yes, I have highlighted 100. I have highlighted the same things that you will pay only cash component. Then, sir, there was also same liability. Shivam, just I have copy paste. Na? Just I have copy paste. Same amount you need to pay. Suppose if I am under QRMP and opting the fixed sum method, then even though the actual liability would differ. But if I have opted fixed sum method, no problem. Pay the equal amount of month 1, same amount to be paid in the month 2. No problem. Cash available in the ledger is 20, 20, 40. But actual liability, so remaining 10 rupees will be there in the ECL. Absolutely correct. So it will be available in the ECL. If you like to go for the refund, you can go for the refund. You can go for the refund, or you can use in the subsequent month or subsequent quarter. Sushil, I hope it is clear. Shivam, I hope it is clear. Everyone is almost clear. Now I'm saying in October to December, I have withdrawal from quarterly. No, not under QRMP. I have opted monthly. I have opted monthly. Please tell me how much amount I will pay for month 1. No problem. No problem. Please tell me how much amount I will pay on 25th August. For the month of the July, how much amount I will pay? How much amount I will pay? How much amount I will pay for month 1 Is it fixed sum method, 35% or some other? Please tell me if on the October to December, I am not under QRMP, I have opted monthly, in that case, what happened? Cash paid in the previous month, this much of the amount. Cash paid in the previous month, this much of the amount. In the October to December, I have not opted QRMP. I have opted monthly. Scheme. So October month, I am, how much amount I need to pay? You tell me. 35%, 30%, 100%, you tell me. Kindly confirm if I am under monthly scheme, is there any option available with me that fix sum method or self-assessment method? If I am monthly filer, I have to pay the taxes along with GSTR 3B on actual basis. If I am under monthly scheme, that is method which we have discussed, fix sum method or self, it is only available for QRMP. If I am under monthly, I will file the GSTR 3B, and if I am filing the GSTR 3B on monthly basis, I am not required any method, sir. I will pay the liability on actual basis. I will pay the actual liability, gross sale, ITC, and the balance to be paid in cash. I cannot opt 35% method, 100% method. I'm least bothered to see about what is the liability in the previous period. In this case, you will file the GSTR 3B. How to deal with remaining 9 rupees? How to deal with can't sir, in 30, how? Which minimum? Not see you. What you are calculating? You are calculating 30 minus 20. Why? This is the liability of the last quarter, and you are for current quarter. They have only given the method to pay. They have, whether your liability for July to September quarter would also say. Rafiq bhai, I am asking the question to you whether July to September quarter the liability would also say. No, sir. Here the liability is different. Why? Why you are looking to 9 only? See, might be the liability would be less or low, high. So no, they have given only one method to calculate the amount which you need to pay. That's it. I hope it is clear to all now. Now suppose in the month of the July to September, I am opting self-assessment method. And let me discuss the last component. My question is, in the July to September, you were under QRMP, but again, same. We are talking about you have opted fix sum method. Then, how much amount you will pay in the April to June? You were not under QRMP. April to June, you were filing the monthly GSTR 3B. You are filing the monthly GSTR 3B. So kindly tell me in that case, how much amount I need to pay here, how much amount I need to pay here. No, right, not right, Pooja. Pooja, it's depend for every quarter, whether you're new or old, it doesn't matter for quarter 1 and quarter 2. For every quarter, for month 1 and month 2, you can opt this method because you do not know the actual sales for the entire quarter. So they are simply giving the method. See, you have the self-assessment method. Pooja, you have the self-assessment method. So calculate actual sales and actual ITC and actual tax liability in pay in cash. So fixer method is only the additional facility given to you in which you are not required to calculate your actual liability. You are not required to calculate actual liability. Instead of that, based on the past, you pay the tax. That's it. Khushi, if I am opting fix sum method under this QRMP scheme, but the frequency of the last quarter was not QRMP, it was monthly 3B, then please tell me how much amount I will pay on 25th August. How much amount I will pay on 25th August. Khushi, the 35% method applicable, the 35% method applicable when you were under QRMP for the last quarter also. You were under QRMP for the last quarter also, then 35% method would be applicable. In this question, I'm saying your April to June was under monthly. So it means you have to pay the actual liability equal to June. You have to pay the actual liability equal to June. Is it clear? Now you can ask any question if you have. If anyone have any question, you can ask. Somesh. Not right. Somesh, not right. Because June representing not 3 months. June is itself for the month of the June. May only for the May. April only for the April. Now in this category at this time I will, if my previous frequency was monthly, then whatever the liability I have paid in cash in the June, similar amount I will pay for month 1 and month 2. Clear, na? Great, Khushi. Now please confirm, Somesh. Is it okay? Somesh, I will pay 275 in month 1, 275 in month 2. Is it okay? Check. Great. Now we are moving to the theory part again. So we have discussed this part. We have discussed example also. Applicability of interest. No interest would be payable in case the tax due is paid in the first 2 months for the quarter by way of the deposit auto-calculated amount. So again, I'm saying, suppose whatever your actual liability, if you are opting fix sum method, there would be no interest. If you pay the auto-calculated amount, so that we have calculated 35% or 100%. If you pay the amount irrespective of your actual liability, if you paid less or more, doesn't matter. There would be no interest. For registered person making the payment of the tax by opting the self-assessment method, here you will calculate the interest amount would be payable. Here you will pay the actual, no concept of cash here. Shivam, where? Shivam, where you are talking about no concept of cash? In the last example, Shivam, in the last example, this part was cash portion only. This part which we have discussed is under cash only. This is representing the cash portion, not the gross liability. This is only the cash portion. Sushil, gross amount will be gone in case of the fixed sum method. Why gross amount? Sushil, why gross? We are talking about only cash portion. Na? You, Bhardwaj, liability under self is 10, but liability under fixed is 8. Can I pay under fixed? And what happens the difference to? Nothing happens. That is the point they are saying. Na? That is the point they are saying. Even if you pay the less amount, opting with fixed sum method, your actual liability is 10 rupees, but you are paying actually 8. No problem. If you are opting fixed sum method, then no problem. There is no interest liable. You can pay the balance 2 rupees. You can pay the balance 2 rupees after the end of the quarter. Yes, yes. Because the system GST portal, once you file the last quarter 3B, when you go, it will automatically calculate. It will automatically calculate because they know that GSTR 3B liability which you paid in cash, they will multiply by 35% and they will provide you the pre-filled challan with 35% or 100% automatically. In case of the fixed sum method, there is no problem of interest. In case of the self-assessment method, the interest amount would be payable. Interest amount would be payable. Suppose you are opting self-assessment method and you are paying the less amount, then interest would be applicable. Rectification of error in the GSTR. If a return has been filed, how can it be revised if some changes are required to be made? So in case of the nil liability, then what about the July? That good question. Mohammed Tawfiq. Suppose in the June GSTR 3B, Mohammed, can I say also this stay either nil liability or there is 100% ITC being utilized. No portion has been paid in cash. Suppose in the June GSTR 3B, either quarterly or monthly, there is 100% liability being paid through ITC. There is no portion has been paid by utilizing. There is no portion has been paid by utilizing the cash. In that case, for month 1, how much? 35%? 0 ka 35%. It would be 0. No amount to be paid in month 1. No amount to be paid in month 2. Now let me move to the can you revise the return? Answer is no. There is an only amendment portion which I have explained in the last class also. Is still there any question? Please ask. So here we are talking about if a return has been filed, how can it be revised if some changes are required to be made? The point is there is no revision possible. Only you can do the amendment. When you file the subsequent return, you can amend the previous period, that particular detail. We have discussed in the GSTR1, there was a table 9A, amendment of the debit credit note, amendment of the B2B, B2C. Correct. So in the GST, since the return are built from the details of the individual so I'm not reading the theory, you can read, but concept I have explained. Miss Pragya, a taxpayer registered under regular scheme, filed GSTR 3B for the month of October on 20th of November. After filing the return, she discovered that the value of the taxable supply has been underreported. Now want to file the revised 3B. Examine the scenario and give your comment. The 3B cannot be filed. You cannot refile the revised return in the GST. However, the details of those transactions are required to be amendment can be changed in future GSTR1. Therefore, Pragya cannot revise 3B filed by her for the month of October. She can amend the details of the taxable supply which were reported in the GSTR1 for the month of November. The tax payable on account of such error will be paid along with interest in 3B for the month of November. So whatever the adjustment is there, increase or decrease, you can pay the taxes along with GSTR 3B of the month for the month of November. Time limit for rectification, we have already discussed. The maximum time limit is due date of filing of the return for the month of the September or actual filing of return, whichever is earlier. The last date of filing of annual return is 30. So that we have discussed 31st December after the end of the financial year. So if annual return is filed before 20th of October, then no such rectification is in the return pertaining to the said financial year would be permitted. So this is the flow chart. A return furnished under 39(1) on which self-assessed tax has been paid in full is considered as a valid return. Filing of the return for the current month is possible only when the return of the previous month has been filed sequentially. A taxpayer need to electronically sign the submitted return, otherwise it will be considered not filed. That is okay. Taxpayer can electronically sign either using the digital signature, that is GST, or they can use Aadhaar-based OTP, e-sign or EVC. Other return. First return is the section 40. So when suppose there is a liability, okay, become liable to be registered. We have discussed that. Let me talk about in calculation in dates. We have discussed that I was supposed to take registration on 1st July 2022 because my threshold exceed the because my actual turnover exceed the threshold limit. So what is the time limit I have to make an application? There is a 30 days. So on the 25th July, I have made the application. On the 25th July, I have made the application. And actual registration in REG 06 has been granted on, say, 8th of August. So your effective date of registration would be 1st July. You have to file the first 3B first one for the month of August only. You have to file 3B or 1 for the month of August only, right? When you file the 3B for the month of August, you will report all the liability, all the ITC in the first return. Section 40 says that when person become liable to take registration, that is 1st July, turnover cross the threshold limit, he may apply registration within 30 days. Therefore, there might be time gap between the person becoming liable 1st July and grant of registration 8th of August. There is a time gap. So what to do for that? During the intervening period, such person might have made the outward supplies, but before grant of the certificate of registration, obviously possible. Now, in order to enable such registered person to declare the supplies made by him for the period between this date, so that ITC can be available by the recipient on such supply. Firstly, the registered person issue the revised tax invoice. We have discussed in the tax invoice chapter 31 subsection 3 clause A, revised invoice. Time limit is 30 days. He will issue the revised invoice, and those revised invoice having the date on or after the date of registration, will be reported in the first return, that is section 40. Annual return, section 44, read with rule 80, that there is 3 annual return. According to section 44, the form number is GSTR 9, GSTR 9A for composition, GSTR 9 for regular, 9 for composition, and GSTR 9B for e-commerce operator. According to section 44, read with rule 80, that following tax, that all registered persons are required to file the annual return other than CTP, NRTP, ISD, or TCS or TDS. Then annual return due date is 31st December. What is the prescribed form? GSTR 9 for regular category and GSTR 9A for composition category. GSTR 9A for composition category. What is the final return? See, in the exam, if there is a theory question, see, try to understand GSTR 4 versus GSTR 9A. See, if question is being asked, or somehow if there is a question, what is the annual return, then please mention both the return. That according to section 44, The GSTR 9A is applicable for composition dealer, which need to be furnished after the end of the financial year till 31st December. GSTR 4, earlier the frequency was quarterly, but currently the frequency is annually. You need to furnish by 30th of April after the end of the year. Both you have to mention. Who is required to file? Every registered person is required to file whose registration has been surrendered or cancelled to file annually rate. So what is the final return? Section 45 talk about then when registration is surrendered or cancelled, okay, then he need to require the final return within 3 months. From which date? Either date of cancellation or date of order, whichever is later. So either date of the cancellation or date of the order, whichever is later. From that 3 months, from that date, within 3 months, I need to furnish the GSTR 10. Otherwise, 200 rupees per day ka late fees. Details of inward supplies of the person having UIN. Details of the inward supplies of the person having UIN. When UIN is issued for claiming the C. What is the UIN? Unique identity number. If you remember, we have discussed that UIN is not the registered person. UIN is not the registered person. Did not understand the comparison of GSTR 4 and GSTR 9. See, what is the currently applicability for composition taxpayer? See, GSTR, see, they have to file CMP 08 on quarterly basis. On quarterly basis. What is the due date? What is the due date? 18th after the end of the quarter. Annually, they have to do the 2 compliances. Annually, they have to do the 2 compliances. So one is GSTR 4 and one is GSTR 9A. So I am not talking about the difference, because for understanding the difference, we need to go through the 9A and GSTR 4 in detail, which is not in our syllabus. Only thing I'm saying, if somewhere you find the question relating to the annual return, so you will write both GSTR 4 and GSTR 9. You will write both GSTR 4 and GSTR 9A. This due date is 30th April after the end of the financial year, and this due date is 31st December. Pooja, I mean to say that you have to mention both the return. I have not explained any of the comparison. Then UIN is required to file the GSTR 11. Ankur did not. Ankur, date of the cancellation is always later, because the cancellation is done only after the. No. When we are filing the cancellation application online now, so we can file the cancellation application even retrospectively also within 30 days. For example, today, 5th August, I need to file the application. I am allowed to put the date of 5th July. I am allowed to put the date of the 5th July also. Details are different. Details are different. GSTR 4 and 9 details are different. Ankur, it is clear? And or sometime the department can cancel from prospective date. Department can cancel from the prospective date. So the date of the cancellation can be previous back date or can be future date also. So that is the reason, date of the cancellation or date of the order, whichever is later, that may vary. 9A portal available. It's available. Currently GSTR 9A return available in the portal. Available, but it is optional. Available, but it is made optional. For the time being, it is optional. So that is only for your understanding purpose, nothing to do with the exam. Okay. And when UIN is purpose other than the refund of the taxes, such person shall, when UIN is issued for the purpose other than refund of the, sorry. So we have discussed UIN is issued for claiming the refund of the taxes on inward supplies. Such person shall furnish the details of the inward supplies of the taxable goods and or services on which refund has been, refund of the taxes has been claimed in the GSTR 11. When UIN is issued for the purpose other than refund of the taxes, such person shall furnish the details of the inward supplies of the taxable goods as may be required by the proper officer in the GSTR 11. Delay in furnishing the return, we have discussed section 47, the late fees. What is the section 46? 46 talking about the defaulter. So they are talking about the GSTR 3A. GSTR 3A is not a return. GSTR 3A is a notice to the return defaulter. If written under section 39, GSTR 3B, or written under section 44, that is GSTR 9 or 9A or 9B, whatever we have discussed, or section 45, that is final return, or section 52, that is TCS statement, is not being filed, then notice can be served. Notice can be served, that section 46 is. Late fees, we have already discussed, 100 rupees per day or 0.25% of the turnover. We have already discussed. And GST practitioner, it is completely theory. I am leaving on you to read. I am leaving on you to read the section 48. Okay, Indian citizen, person of the sound mind, not adjudicated as insolvent, not being convicted by a competent court, etc. They can file. They are eligible to become the GST practitioner. You all can read. It is a theory point only. Now you can take the break of. 5 minutes, and please must all come, because now it's your checking. It's your knowledge testing. I have made 2 questions. For each question, I will spend half an hour. For each question, I will spend half an hour, and this question is completely covering or multiple chapters like exemptions, like valuation, like ITC. Multiple chapter is being covered, in which we will spend some time, so that we can say next 1 hour would be the revision of entire GST. Any question you can ask. Any question you can ask. I will give the reply after the break. And Ashok sir, please start the break. We will resume at after 5 minutes. 35. 7. So now, any question? Let me see. Is only authorized to file the return, or common person can also be able to file? In addition, even I can file my return for myself also. Yeah. So as such, there is no restriction, but there are additional. I can say the facility or opportunity has been assigned to the GST practitioner. So that is the main point. So suppose I'm not any qualified person, but I was having the requisite qualification, then I can I can apply the GST practitioner in the PCT 01, and if it is approved, then the certificate will be granted in the PCT 02. Can you please share question for practice? More question for practice. You have to refer the study material. Now the RTP, etc. Multiple questions are there. So I cannot share any question, but these two questions I have prepared. These two questions I have prepared, so which we can discuss. Yeah. Okay. So here we can discuss multiple things also. Let me ask. Let me read the question. Messrs. Kyra Air Limited, located in Gujarat, is engaged in manufacturing of air coolers and air purifiers. They supply the goods on all over India basis. Perfect. Their aggregate turnover was rupees 125 lakh. They provides the details of the various activity undertaken during the month of the September are under. Perfect. I hope the screen is visible. Everything is visible to you right now. I will ask multiple questions. We will spend half an hour on one question. We will spend half an hour on one question, and on various provision I will ask. Not that we have related the question related to the topic which we have discussed. It may be more than that. Outward supply within Gujarat 11 lakh and outside Gujarat 3 lakh. Please tell me within Gujarat is called as intrastate or interstate? It is called intrastate or interstate? It is called intrastate or interstate. I will ask multiple questions on every line just to be sure. It is called intrastate supply. It is called intrastate supply. Which tax would be charged? Which tax would be charged? Is it CGST, SGST, or IGST? Is it CGST, SGST, or IGST? Is it CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, cess? Which tax would be charged? All are correct. CGST and SGST. Correct. All are correct. CGST and SGST. Now, on the 5th September 2020, the company had issued 10 number of exchange voucher at the rate 1000 each, of which can be exchanged or redeemed against purchase of the air cooler worth rupees 10,000 at any of the company's outlet in the state of Gujarat. Out of the above, 7 vouchers were encased during the month of the September, and remaining 3 has been encased during the month of October. First, tell me this provision is related to which chapter? First, tell me this provision is related to which chapter? 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 The answer is value of supply. Value of supply. Now tell me, can you please tell me the provision related to this? Is it value the supply? Is it value the supply? It is related to the time of the supply. Time of the supply, which a provision has been given in section 12, subsection 4 for goods, and 12 subsection 13 subsection 4 in case of the services. Time of the supply for the voucher. What is that provision? If it is identifiable, kindly tell me what is the time of supply. If it is identifiable, then what is the time of supply? Suppose I'm giving the voucher which is identifiable. That against which item I'm going to take or I'm going to redeem, that which item I'm going to redeem, it is identifiable at the time of issuance of the voucher. Then what is the time of the supply? If it is identifiable, then time of the supply would be date of the issue of the voucher. If it is not identifiable in any other case, no problem. If you not remember the section, nothing not required at all. If it is any other case, it means voucher is not identifiable, then what is the time of supply? Voucher is not identifiable, then what is the time of supply? If voucher is not identifiable, then what is the time of supply? If voucher is not identifiable, then what is the time of the supply? If it is identifiable, date of the issue. If it is not identifiable, date of the redemption. Fine. Please tell me in this case, whether it is identifiable that which item I'm going to buy at the time of redemption. Is it identifiable or not identifiable? Is it identifiable or not identifiable? It is identifiable or not identifiable? Please tell me. In the given case, serial number 2, in the given case, what you will say? Voucher is identifiable or not identifiable? You will say voucher which I have issued can be exchanged or redeemed against purchase of air cooler. It is identifiable, sir. It is identifiable, meaning thereby date of the issuance of the voucher will be the time of supply. Whether it is redeemed 7 in September, 3 in October, this information is irrelevant. Is it clear? Kindly confirm. Is it clear? Kindly confirm. Fine. Next point. Purchase of the material within Gujarat, which include the material worth rupees 3 lakh purchased from Messrs. Kalpana Industries registered as a composition dealer. Time of supply is 5th September. Again, let me tell you what is the rate on the goods. It is 12%. Services, it is 18% other than serial number 5. So rate of the taxes is 12% on goods. Now you need to calculate the amount. Purchase of the material within Gujarat, which include the material worth of rupees 3 lakhs purchased from one of the composition dealer. The total purchase is 8 lakh. Now please tell me how much is the CGST, how much is SGST, how much is IGST on this 8 lakh. On this 8 lakh, how much is the CGST, how much is the SGST, how much is the IGST? Kindly confirm. The rate of the taxes is 12%. We have discussed the rate of the taxes is 12%. Can you tell me how much is the GST? How much is the GST, CGST, SGST, and IGST on total purchase? On total purchase, how much is the CGST? How much is the IGST on the total purchase? If you can bifurcate, that would be appreciated. If you can bifurcate into the CGST and SGST, it will be bifurcated. It would be required because at the end, I am required to calculate the liability to be paid in cash under each head. So I hope you are writing it somewhere. I'm requesting everyone, please write it somewhere. Let me tell you, the rate of the taxes on goods, it is 12%, 6 plus 6, and rate on the services is 18%. So this example, this point, purchase of the material, so it is a goods. The rate of the taxes would be 12%. Pooja, is it completely composition? How much value your how much of the value? The purchase of the goods, total 8 lakh rupees. How much pertain to composition? Only 3 lakhs. How much pertain to composition? Only 3 lakh. Still not coming the correct amount from all the participants. Some are saying 30,000, some are saying 54,000, some are saying 48,000. I'm not able to understand. Please confirm and give me the correct amount. Please recalculate and give me the final amount. Absolutely correct. On 5 lakh, there would be the GST. On 3 lakh, there would be no GST because 3 lakh purchase from composition dealer. And on 5 lakh, because it is within Gujarat, so it is intrastate purchase. So it means supplier would charge CGST and SGST. The rate of the taxes on goods is 12%. So 6 CGST, 6 SGST. So I can say on the 5 lakh, 30,000 would be the CGST and 30,000 would be SGST. I can say on the purchase of the material, 30,000 would be CGST and 30,000 would be SGST. In respect of the few invoice worth rupees 1 lakh raised during the month of the June 2020, the stipulated condition was to pay within 1 month. The credit was given of 1 month from the date of the raising of invoice. Otherwise, the interest 24% was payable on the supplies made against such invoice. So the supplier is saying to the customer, the credit period is 1 month. If you will not be able to make the payment in 1 month, you have to pay along with interest. The buyer failed to pay the due within the stipulated time and made the payment together with interest 11,200 during the month of the September. First, tell me it is related to which chapter and what is the provision. Please tell me what is the provision and where this point we have discussed, or you have already discussed from where you have discussed this point. This pertain to which chapter and what is the provision related to this particular point? Please kindly tell me in brief. Kindly tell me in brief. This chapter, which chapter we have discussed this provision? First name of the chapter and then tell me the provision in brief. The answer is value of supply. The answer is value of the supply. Can you please tell me the provisions? Can you please tell me the provision? Can you please tell me the provision? This provision related to time of supply also. This provision related to time of the supply also. This provision related to the value of the supply also. This provision related to time of supply also. This provision related to the value of the supply also. And there is nothing to do with interest, because in the section 50 subsection 1 or 50 subsection 3, the interest which we have discussed, that interest is if supplier failed to pay the taxes. If supplier failed to pay the taxes, then how much interest he has to pay. Here we are not talking about the failure to pay the taxes to the government. Here we are talking about customer payment. If it comes within 1 month, no interest. If it is coming after 1 month, then there is an interest, and total amount collected is 11,200. First value of the supply says, section 15 subsection 2. 15 subsection 2 says, clause 6. It says that you need to include 15 subsection 2. 15 subsection 2, not the clause 6. Not the clause 6. 15 subsection 2 says that in case there is a delay in payment of consideration, you need to include in the value. In the 15 subsection 2, there are 5 clauses: clause A, clause B, clause C, clause D, and clause E. In the 15 subsection 2, we are including certain things in the value. Certain things in the value, in which one of the clause is that you need to include the interest. Interest of what? Interest or penalty for delayed payment of any consideration. According to the value of the supply, we have understood that yes, this would be included in the value. Now, what is the time of the supply? What is the time of the supply? Is it June or is it September? The answer is being given by section 12 subsection 6 or section 13 subsection 6. Both are same provisions. That talks about the time of the supply. Time of the supply is for the delayed payment of any consideration. If there is an interest, penalty, fee for delayed payment of any consideration, then what is the time of supply? When such addition in the value is being received. Interest to be included in the value 15 subsection 2, and when it is taxable, on actual basis when I am receiving. So in this case, the time of the supply would be September, not the June. How much is the value? 11,200. Fine. Both air ticket from Ahmedabad to Guwahati Airport, Assam, for its marketing executive, the total fare of the ticket was 60,000, out of which 50,000. 55,000 is the basic fare. Applicable tax rate on the air ticket is 5%. Can you tell me how much tax would be there? Can you tell me how much tax would be there? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate Akash Neil answer. Really appreciate Akash Neil answer. In this question, GST leviable on interest? Answer is yes. Mohammed Tawfiq, the interest, the GST would be leviable on the interest. Point number one reason that interest for delayed payment of any consideration is taxable in the GST. Normal interest which we are receiving on, like say fixed deposit, interest on the loan, that is exempted other than credit card loan. So which is taxable? The interest which is taxable, that we are receiving that interest on the delayed payment of any consideration. So the answer to that question, yes, it is taxable. And what is the Akash name? What is the Akash name reply? That if we are traveling to Assam, if you are traveling to Assam, that is an exempt supply. So there is no question of tax at all. There is no question of tax at all. I hope this point is clear. Kindly confirm. I hope this point is clear to all. There is no tax at all on this particular airfare. There would be no ticket. There would be no charges because this is an exempt supply. Because this is an exempt supply. एक बार कंफर्म करें सब लोग प्लीज. Transportation of passengers, serial number 15 of exemption notification. Serial number 15 of exemption notification. If I'm transportation of passenger with or without accompanying by air in that particular location, Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, etc., then the service would be exempted, no GST. So in this case, there would be no tax component at all. Next point, send 10 manager for 15 days training course organized by IIM Ahmedabad, Gujarat. On 5 September 20, the IIM provides participation certificate at the end of this course. Please tell me, will it be taxable or exempt? Will it be taxable or exempt? Whether this transaction would be taxable or exempt? Whether this transaction would be taxable or exempt? Whether this transaction would be a taxable or exempt? Whether this transaction would be taxable or exempt? The answer is taxable for IIM's long-term courses. For IIM long-term courses, 1 year or more, that is exempted. Like short-term diploma certificate course, like it is only for 15 days. This is not exempted. This is taxable. Now, what is the point? The composite supply tax rate 5% and goods 12%, services 18%. Opening balance of the ITC 4,000 CGST, 10,000 SGST, 5,000 IGST. All the figures above other than 5 are exclusive of tax. Both inward and outward supplies within the state are intrastate and outside the state are interstate. Calculate the amount of the tax payable in cash by particular form for the month of the September. So I will provide you the answer also, rest to be sure. I will provide the answer also. So almost we have discussed this question. Let me show you the solution also. Give me 1 minute. Let me show you the solution also. So outward supplies 11 lakh. Tax rate is 12%. 6 CGST, 6 SGST, 66,000. Outward supply outside the Gujarat 3 lakh. Rate of the tax is 12%. That is IGST. Supply of the 10 exchange voucher 10,000, 600. Total 11,200 was there, which is inclusive of tax. So, which is inclusive of tax, right? So, 1 second. Where the calculation is. Fine, no problem. Inclusive of tax. So that is not inclusive. The total 10,000 multiplied by 6%. CGST 6% SGST. Interest was inclusive of tax. What was written? That all the figure mentioned above other than serial number 4 are exclusive. Serial number 4 was 11,200 interest part. So 11,200, you have to do the backward calculation. It is inclusive of tax. So that rate of the taxes is 12%. So 112 multiplied by 100. So the basic value comes to 10,000 and tax rate is 12%. So 1200 is the IGST. Total liability, what is the ITC? Opening balance is this much. That purchase of the material, intrastate 30,000. On purchase from composition, no tax liability. Air ticket purchase from Ahmedabad to Guwahati, no tax. And training course, because it is a short term, therefore it is not exempted. Short term duration program are taxable. So 50,000 multiplied by 9%, 4500. This much is the total ITC net GST payable. You have to apply the funda which we have discussed. Now going to the question number 2. So ABC Company Limited of the Bangalore is manufacturing and registered supplier of the machineries. It has provided the following details for tax period. Health insurance of the factory employees as required by Factories Act 1948. ITC is available or blocked? Give me some reasoning. ITC is available or blocked? Give me some reasoning. Assume किया कार्तिक assumption में डाला मैंने assume किया because without the information I have assumed that it is inter. I have given in the assumptions. At the last I have given in the assumptions. So I can say without the absence of the information I have assumed it is inter and therefore I am charging IGST. Sure, I will share the file. Definitely. I will give to the institute and the institute will upload this particular for the today class. Karthik, short duration course. Achha, okay. I think your question is clear. Please tell me health insurance of the factory employees, whether ITC is available or not, along with reasoning. Whether ITC is available or not, along with reasoning. ITC blocked as it is the duty of the employer but necessary to take the insurance. Perfect. ITC available. ITC is blocked, available for the factory. Fine. Give me the answer and along with reasoning. Whether ITC is blocked or ITC is available. Whether ITC is blocked or ITC is available. See, first reply. Section 17, subsection 5, clause B talks about health insurance, life insurance is fall under the block category. 17.5 subsection B, section 17 subsection 5 clause B subclause 1 talks about that health insurance and life insurance is normally in the block category. But proviso after third clause, proviso after third subclause, it says that if it is an obligation on employer to provide to employee, if it is an obligation to provide to employees because of any other law for the time being in force, then employer can take the ITC of that goods or services, whether it is any goods or any services, whether it is insurance, whether it is canteen, whether it is like say ambassador, we need to maintain, like say ambulance I need to maintain. I have purchased one car. Whether normally car is being blocked or ITC available, normally you will say block category. But if I'm saying I have purchased one car which is compulsion as per the Factories Act, suppose if it is compulsion as per the Factories Act, ITC would be available because it is covered in the proviso. Raw material for which invoice has been received and GST also has been paid for full amount, but only 50% of the material has been received. 50% will be received in the next month when you will take the ITC. in the current month, in the next month, or 50% in current month, 50% in next month? Kindly give me the answer along with some reasoning. Kindly give me the answer along with some reasoning. For point number 2, raw material from which invoice has been received and GST has also been paid for full amount, but only 50% of the material has been received. Remaining 50% will be received in the next month. ITC available 50% now, 50% in next month, 100% in current month, 100% in next month. Absolutely correct. According to the proviso to the 16 subsection 2, it says that when goods are received in the lot, then on the last lot you are entitled to take the full ITC. So in this one, I will not be able to take any ITC. I am not eligible to take any ITC. Next question. Next point. Work contract service used for installation of. Great. So work contract service used for installation of plant and machinery, 12,000. ITC would be available or blocked. Give me some reason. ITC would be available or blocked. Give me some reason. Work contract service, whether you can take the ITC or not, it is blocked. It is blocked or available. Give me some reasoning. It is blocked or available. Give me some reasoning. ITC available on the work contract service or not? कार्तिक क्या हुआ आंसर नहीं आया? सोमेश, खुशी, पूजा, रेखा, हितेश, everyone. The answer is ITC would be available. ITC would be available on this work contract service or not? This is my question. Whether ITC would be available or not? This is my question. Whether ITC would be available or not? This is my question. The answer is ITC would be available. Answer is ITC would be. अच्छा दे दिया था क्या? Sorry, मैंने देखा नहीं फिर. Oh, ठीक है. ITC would be available. ITC would be available because see normally what you will say if it is work contract service, ITC is blocked in the 17.5C. But when it is with respect to plant and machinery, ITC is not blocked because it is covered in the exclusion category. They are saying the work contract service for construction of immovable property other than plant and machinery. It means if the work contract service is for plant and machinery, it will not block. Therefore, ITC is available. ITC is available. 17.5C, read the language and wherein in the bracket it is written other than plant and machinery. Next, purchase the manufacturing machine sent directly to the job worker premises under delivery challan, rupees 50,000 is the GST component. ITC available, not available because it is directly goods has been sent to the job worker on the basis of the delivery challan. ITC available, not available, whatever. What would be your answer? ITC available, not available. Please tell me the reason. Along with reasoning, kindly give me the answer. So the answer is ITC available. ITC available. The reasoning is section 19 subsection 2. The reasoning is section 19 subsection 2 that even if the goods are directly sent to the job worker, even if the goods are directly sent to the job worker without being received by the principal. So 19 subsection 2, notwithstanding anything contained in 16 subsection 2, it says that ITC would be available to the principal even if the goods are directly sent from supplier to the job worker. Next, purchase of the car used by the director exclusive for the business purpose. ITC would be available or not? 16 you are talking about proviso. Karthik, you are talking about the proviso. That is okay, but that is not the bill to ship to model. Actually, that is not the bill to ship to model. So here the ITC would be available because of 19 subsection 2. And 19 subsection 2 is overriding provision. It's starting with non-obstant clause. Notwithstanding anything contained in 16 subsection 2 clause B, you would be able to take ITC, and that is the reason. But yes, ITC would be available. My next point is purchase of the car used by the director exclusive for the purpose of the business meeting. It's not visible. Sorry. Next point is purchase of the car used by the director exclusively for the purpose of the business meeting. Now, please highlight, please understand, the car is not being used for pick and drop or something from home to office. No, it is exclusively only for the business purpose. ITC would be available or not? My God, great. Very nice. Here the ITC would not be available. It is under the block category. It is under the block category. Even if it is for business purpose, even if it is for business purpose, you can't take the ITC up to 13-seater, transportation of passenger. Absolutely the correct point highlighted by Isha, that if it is further outward supplies, we have discussed the certain exception, and if it is being covered, then yes, ITC would be available even for 13-seater. But in this case, it is used by the director only for the purpose of the business meeting. No ITC would be available. Outdoor catering service availed for business meeting. ITC available or not? ITC available or not? So there are what is the explanation to that? Either by transfer the document of the title or otherwise. Hey, document is okay. Document is okay, but that is not the bill to ship to model. What happened in the bill to ship to model? There are two supply. In the bill to ship to model, there are two supply. Okay, but transaction from principal to the job worker, it is not the it is not the supply. It is only the movement of the goods. So it is not the bill to ship to model. So actually, if you see the language now, that language has been borrowed from the section 10 of IGST Act of that 16(2) provision. We'll discuss in further. We'll discuss whenever we talk, whenever we got the opportunity to talk, but not now. Right now, we are okay with that. Outdoor catering ITC available or not? Answer is ITC is blocked. Answer is ITC is blocked. And Karthik, only I would suggest that please go and just check the section 19 subsection 2. एक बार check कर लीजिएगा 19 subsection 2. You will have the more confidence. You have the good confidence, no doubt about that. But you will have the more confidence. एक बार language आप 19 subsection 2 की जरूर check करना. Correct, absolutely correct. Outdoor catering, it is not available. Now, ABC Company Limited also provide. Now see that. Now we are coming to the outward. Now we are coming to the outward transaction. ABC Company Limited also provide the service of hiring of machine. Also provide the service of hiring of machine along with manpower for the operation. Perfect. So as per the trade practice, machine are always hired along with operator. Okay. And also operator are supplied only when the machine are hired out. Okay. Let me see what is the question. Outward supplies excluding the GST for the tax period. It is hiring, receipt for the machine, and service charge for the supply the manpower operator. Okay. Assume the rate of the GST, service of the hiring of the machine is 12% and supply the manpower service is 18%. You need to compute the totality. compute the amount of the ITC available as also the net GST payable from the electronic cash ledger for the tax period. Now, first tell me the total ITC which we have calculated. First tell me what is the total ITC which we have calculated. First tell me what is the total ITC which we have calculated. I think it is, can anybody add and tell me what is the total ITC available? Can anybody add and tell me what is the total ITC, eligible ITC? In totality, there is no bifurcation, CSI. So कोई भी एक जन टोटल कर लीजिए, मुझे बता दीजिए इसमें कितना पोर्शन था एलिजिबल का. एनीवन? अरे यार 3 आंसर आ रहे हैं, 88, 82, 64. 20,000 available, 18,000 not available, 12,000 available, 50,000 available, 50, 60, 70, 82. The right answer is 82,000. The right answer is 82,000 because we are eligible for 20, we are eligible for 12, and we are eligible for this 50. Correct? 20 plus 12 plus 50. The answer is 82,000. Correct? Why not 50? Why not 50? We have talked about that you can take the ITC even if the goods are directly sent to the job worker. 82,000. Now, can you tell me the total tax liability? Total tax liability on these supplies. I request everyone to calculate and tell me what is the tax liability? What is the tax liability on totality? See, rate of the taxes are given here. Rate of the taxes are given here. Please calculate the total tax liability on serial number 1 and serial number 2. Serial number 1 and serial number 2. Can you tell me the rate of the taxes? Okay. First tell me rate of the taxes. Which rate would be applicable? 12%, 18%. What is the rate applicable on the hiring receipt for machine? Is it 12% or is it 18%? In the question, they have given some rate. Please tell me on the hiring receipt for machine, which rate would be applicable? Which rate would be applicable? Is it 12 or is it 18? Please tell me on hiring of the machine, which rate would be applicable? Is it 12 or is it 18? Is it 12 or is it 18? Fine. What about the service charge for supplying the manpower? What is the rate applicable on the service charge? What rate would be applicable on the service charge? What rate applicable on the service charge for supply the manpower? What rate would be applicable on the service charge for supply the manpower operator? Is it 12 or is it 18? Is it 12 or is it 18? My God. Is it 12 or is it 18? The answer would be, what is the rate applicable to the service charge for supply the manpower operator? Is it 12 or is it 18? Is it 12 or is it 18? What rate would be applicable for the supply charges for the service charge for the supply of the manpower operator? Is it 12 or is it 18? Thank you so much to all the participants. It is a composite supply. It is a composite supply. We discussed the meaning in section 2 clause 30 and section 2 clause 90. Composite supply and the mixed supply. Naturally bundled. Composite supply, which is naturally bundled, out of which one is principal and second is ancillary. The rate of the taxes according to section 8, rate of the taxes would be applicable on principal, same rate would be applicable on entire bundle. Same rate would be applicable on entire bundle. In the above para, we have discussed, we have understood that it is the common, it is the normal business parlance, it is the naturally bundled transaction. It is naturally bundled transaction, and therefore it is a composite supply. It is a composite supply, and therefore on the entire value, the rate of the taxes would be 12%. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Yes, Prabhas, I'm receiving your answer, but very uh, not frequent. Yeah, very rare. I'm able to see your answer. After a long time, I'm able to see your answer now. In this case, it is a composite supply as it is a custom, and thus 18%. So the Prabhas answer 18% is not correct, because what is the main principle? ABC Limited also provide hiring of the machine along with manpower. It is a trade practice. Machine are hired out along with operator, and operator are only supplied when the machine are hired out. So what is the rate applicable on the machine? 12%. So therefore, it becomes the principal. What is the principal supplies? Hiring of the machine is the principal, and ancillary is manpower. You need to explain the concept of the composite supply, principal supply, ancillary supply, and naturally bundled based on the discussion. And then you need to conclude that this transaction is composite supply according to section 8. The rate applicable on the principal would be applied on the entire combo, entire bundle. So what would be that? So make it total and then apply the 12%. I think it is 91,200. 91,200. So minus, you can say whatever the ITC available and then balance. So the last part which I'm expecting from you, let me show you. Wait for a minute. Give me 1 minute. I'm sharing one calculation. You just need to give the answer. I'm just doing the rounding off. I'm just doing the rounding off so that it would be easy for our calculation. Now please tell me how much amount I need to pay CGST in cash or SGST in cash. I'm only asking, suppose this is your tax liability, CGST, SGST, IGST. This is your ITC 30, 30, 60. Kindly tell me how much amount you need to pay in cash toward the CGST liability. Kindly tell me. Okay, so much. Great, great. Thank you so much. Now, this is the last part which we are discussing. Again, we'll do the 5 or 10 minute quick question, quick revision of the chapter which we have completed. Kindly tell me the answer that ITC is 13C, 13S, and 60 in I. how much liability I will pay in cash toward the CGST. How much liability I will pay toward the CGST. What can be the multiple possible answer? How much can be the multiple? I am requesting everyone, please write all possible answer. Please write all possible answer. How much liability? My question is only that how much liability I have to pay in cash for CGST. If you have more than one answer, kindly write all the answer. If you have more than one answer, kindly write all the answer. If you have more than one answer, kindly write all the answer. Great. The first answer is, if I will borrow entire 10, then I have to pay 10,000. If I borrow entire of I, then I have to pay 10,000. Suppose if the entire amount has been borrowed by, S from I. If entire amount has been borrowed by S from I, then it will be 3. If it is half, see, I'm only assuming half, then it will be 15. Then there can be the multiple option. If it is half, suppose they have borrowed half portion in the C and half portion in S, then the answer would be 20,000 C, 20,000 S. I think this is my last session. This is my last session. Not, I think, it is confirmed. It is my last session. So we have another 5 or 10 minute discussion. Let me start the quick revision of the today chapter. Let me start the quick revision of the today chapter which we have discussed. Is it okay? Shall we start? Shall we start the quick revision of the written chapter, GST written? Kindly give me 5 or 10 minutes extra. That's it. Okay. So let me start. What is the due date? What is the due date of GSTR3B under QRMP? Question number 1. What is the due date of GSTR3B under QRMP? First question, what is the due date of GSTR3B under QRMP? What is the due date of GSTR3B under QRMP? What is the due date? What is the due date of GSTR3B under QRMP? Give me the quick answer. Give me the quick answer. What is the due date of the GSTR3B under QRMP? Excellent. The right answer is 22 or 24. Right answer is 22 or 24. What is the name of that particular return or statement which I need to furnish for outward B2B supply? In case of quarterly return monthly payment of the taxes, if I have opted QRMP, then which statement will be furnished for month 1 and month 2 for B2B transactions? कार्तिक बोले ना जीएसटी सब कुछ है मेरा, जीएसटी के अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है, बहुत हो गया, ओनली जीएसटी. बट थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर एप्रिसिएशन. अगर आपको फीडबैक देना है तो सिर्फ जीएसटी के बारे में फीडबैक दे दीजिएगा इससे, ठीक है. It is IFF, invoice furnishing facility. It is invoice furnishing facility. Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Quickly answer. Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Invoice furnishing facility का due date. Invoice furnishing facility का due date. Invoice furnishing facility का due date. Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? Can you tell me the due date of the? Can you tell me the due date of the IFF? The answer is 13th. 13th after the end of the month. 13th after the end of the month. Prabhas, again the same problem. I am not able to see your answer. Prabhas, I am not able to see your answer. In bad, sir, in bad number 10.10 example 1, it is given that GST is the 10th number. See, Prajalwala, see, Prajalwala, if you go to the section 37, if you go to the section 37, then it simply tell me the due date of the GSTR1 is 10th. After that, there is a one proviso that commissioner has the power to extend the due date of the GSTR1 by way of notification. And then somewhere it is there in the notes, you can refer the study material, somewhere it is there that using the power, the commissioner has issued the notification and they have extended the due date in case of the QRMP, the 13th for IFF. In any other case, it is 11th. In any other case, it is 11th. So that is the reason it is 11th. Okay. If effective date of the registration is date of the grant is there, there would be no revised tax invoice. Am I right? Not right. There would be the revised. See, if I am not not right, not right. Why? Because revised invoice I'm issuing for my sale, so I cannot penalize my customer. They have to take the ITC on the basis of revised tax invoice. So therefore, it is not right. Thank you so much, Pooja. Kindly give the feedback to ICI, Board of Study. The answer is 13th. The answer is 13th. I hope it is clear. Kindly confirm. What happened? Give me 1 minute. Sorry. प्रभास अभी मिला आपको. प्रभास अभी आपका आंसर आया मेरे पास. Prajwala, kindly confirm. Is it clear? The point is clear. The question which you have asked. The point is clear which you have asked. Now the next question. Please tell me the due date of the annual return. Please tell me the due date of annual return. Please tell me the due date of annual return. Rafiq bhai, when the law was made, it was 10th. It was 10th. When the law was made, it was only 10th. So they have not changed the section 37. They have added one proviso. Why the proviso? So that they can extend the due date. By taking that power, commissioner has extended the date as 13th for IFF or 11th for GSTR 1 in case of monthly. You all are requested to connect with me LinkedIn. That is the perfect way to connect. Professionally way to connect. You can search LinkedIn profile. You can, if you like to connect with me, you can just go to the LinkedIn profile. Arun Chajan, you can stay connected with me, no problems. Through LinkedIn, we can connect, we can chat, we can do anything, any discussion. Even if this particular GST related problem, if you like to ask, it is there only you can ask. I will give the reply. But please note, I am not the teacher for the CA other than institute. I am not teaching student. I am not teaching CA student anywhere except ICAI. Third para 10.1 8 minute को बेटा 1 minute 13.1.3. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Many cartoons. Can you please explain third point, page number 10.1.3? Just allow me 1 minute. Meanwhile, you all give the answer. Meanwhile, you all give the answer of the question. You all give the answer for the question. GSTR 2B would be available from which date? GSTR 2B would be available from which date? On a particular date, I would be available to download the GSTR 2B. From which date the GSTR 2B would be available? Prajwala, this question is related to ITC Rule 86B. I would request to refer the video of the ITC wherein I have explained. In just short, I can say that in case if your taxable value exceed 50 lakh in a particular month, in a particular tax period, if taxable value exceed 50 lakh, then you can use ITC maximum 99%, only 1% you have to pay in cash. And if that particular 3B was not furnished, then according to the clause 3, they are saying I would be debarred. Suppose for the previous GSTR 3B, in which I was a rule 86B was applicable on me, and I am not furnished that 3B, I would be debarred, or I would not be able to furnish GSTR 1 or IFF. In short, I have explained, but for more detail, you can refer the ITC video. When the GSTR 1 gets updated? No. Are you asking for generation on 14th? Yes, Karthik. Yes. Answer is GSTR 2B would be available. GSTR 2B would be available on 14th onwards. On 14th onward. GSTR to be available when the supplier file the GSTR 1? Answer is no. It will not a static, it will not a dynamic document. It is fixed on a particular date, that is 14th of every month. So I like to download the July. It is available on or after 14th of August. Perfect. So let me ask one or two more questions. If supply is B2C, if the supply is B2C, interest rate more than 2.5 lakh, will it be invoice wise or will it be consolidated? Sorry. B2C, invoice value greater than 2.5 lakh. I'm talking about B2C, invoice value greater than 2.5 lakh. Then please tell me where it will be, why, how it will be reported. Will it be state-wise, consolidated, or will it be invoice-wise? Quickly tell me. The right answer is, quickly tell me what is the right answer. The right answer is consolidated. In case of interest rate supply, whether it is to more than or less than, all will be entered state-wise consolidated manner, which we have discussed 2.5 lakh, that belongs to interstate supply. Next question to all of you. Please tell me if my aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore, what is the requirement of HSN code? How much digit? Please tell me if my aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore, what is the requirement of HSN code? How much digit I have to mention? Karthik intra. Anyway, no problem. Next question is the answer to the HSN code. Answer to the HSN code is 6 digit. Next question. Kindly tell me in case of the composition dealer. By which form they are paying the taxes on quarterly basis? Plus what is the due date of that form? You have to tell me the form number and the due date by which composition dealer are paying the tax quarterly. Kindly give me the answer. What is the due date? And what is the form number for paying the taxes by the composition dealer? The last question, HSN code, the right answer is 6 digit. Great, Somes. कुछ नाम तो मुझे याद हो गए, कुछ पार्टिसिपेंट के नाम तो मुझे याद हो गए. So it's same experience with me also. Be in touch. I would also be there. If God grace would be available, I would be available for CA final as well. Through ICAI. That's it. Committed to ICAI for the time. The answer is CMP 08. And what is the due date? The answer is CMP 08. And what is the due date? 18th after the end of the quarter. Correct. CM and GSTR 9A is the annual return. Raghavan, GSTR 9A is annual return. GSTR 9A is annual return. GSTR 9A is annual return. Anything else? Please tell me name of the two method for making the payment of the taxes under QRMP. Under QRMP for M1 and M2, there are two methods for making the payment of the taxes. For M1 and M2, for making the payment of the taxes, there are two methods. Can you please tell me the name of the two methods? Can you please tell me the name of two methods? Akash Neil, in composition dealer, we are paying the taxes through CMP 08 by 18th after the end of the quarter. Payment of the tax goes by quarterly basis, and yearly there is two requirements: GSTR 4 by 30th April and GSTR 9A by 31st December. Oh, the answer is fixed sum method, and self-assessment method. Fixed sum method and self-assessment method. In case of the fixed sum method, I'm asking second question. In case of the fixed sum method, what is the percentage? What is the percentage if the frequency of the previous period, the frequency of the previous was under QRMP? If I am under QRMP under this quarter and I need to pay the taxes for M1, M2 under fixed sum method, please tell me the percentage if the previous period frequency, the previous quarter frequency was QRMP. Karthik, percentage wrong. Karthik, percentage wrong. Karthik, percentage wrong. It is 35%. It is 35%. It is 35%. Correct? It is 35%. And if the last quarter frequency was not quarterly, last period frequency was monthly, in that case, I have to pay 100%. Can you tell me, I will pay the amount of gross liability or liability which is being paid in cash? Gross liability or net cash liability? Can you please tell me gross liability or net cash liability? Gross liability or net cash liability? Gross liability or net cash liability? The amount which I will pay, that would be the gross liability or net cash liability. This is my last question. Cash liability only, net cash only. Lovely experience with me also. Thank you so much, each one of you, for actively participation. Thank you so much. And any other point which you like to say, you can. Otherwise, we can complete our class. We will be here. Of any point, any doubt you like to say, you can. Otherwise, we can wind up our class. And this is my last discussion for this term. I'm expecting everyone in CA final. This attempt, whatever the attempt is for you, that should be the last attempt. Do work hard. GST very simple. GST is very simple. You can score as much as you want. Hitesh, yes, yes, Hitesh, I'm receiving your answer. Hitesh, net cash. Thank you, Karthik. Full amount paid in cash. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raghavan, and everyone. I'll miss also, and connect through LinkedIn and share your result through LinkedIn. Once you clear from this exams, then kindly share, and also especially the score in GST. Must share the score in the total taxation. Good night, sir. Good night. Definitely. Thank you so much to Sneha, Prabhas, Somesh, Kushi, and everyone, each and everyone. Take care. Thank you, Karthik. हाँ, जितना भी पेपर है, मैं पूरे टैक्सेशन का पेपर कर रहा हूँ, पूरे टैक्सेशन का पेपर कर रहा हूँ. इफ यू स्कोर वेल ऑन 40, सपोज यू विल do hard on the 40 and you might have the chance to get out of the 40, you might have the get chance 35, 30 plus you can have the chance. Correct, man. You can score well through GST part also. You can handle through GST also. खाली GST का तो नहीं बता सकते. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Good night to all of you and we'll shortly meet. Goodbye. Akash, Ashok sir, over to you.